Hi, peace lovers, and welcome back. I'm Avis Kalfsbeck, and this is the Pieces Here podcast. We are currently in a fiction series here on the podcast titled Experiment Zero of the Peace Experiments. This is a 13-episode series following the reports of Kitty O'Compost, a small-town journalist with a sharp wit and a truth-telling goat named Marzipan. In this story, Kitty untangles the mystery of a global peace protocol through the lens of a local pothole, proving that the big questions of the world are usually hidden in the small things we walk over every day. It's a journey about the commons, the power of young people, and the quiet maintenance of peace. If you found us in the middle of this series, feel free to pop back to episode 184 to start the story from the beginning. This chapter follows Kitty into the quiet machinery of postponement, where peace is fully engineered, endlessly reviewed, and never quite allowed to begin. Here is Chapter 4, The Leak, Protocol of Postponement. The morning had the nervous shine of a day pretending to be ordinary. I stood by my front door and took my census of the self. Kitty O'Compost equipped as follows: boots with morning dew and optimism fading, straight-leg jeans, dark wash and soft from use, a dark green sweater under the bond jacket, a messenger bag containing a camera, notebooks, the global pothole notes, and a banana being slowly compressed by circumstance, a roll of library return receipts in my pocket for no discernible reason, and Marzipan trotting beside me with the purposeful gait of somebody ready to veto an entire government. Inventory complete, we walked toward the Midway Post Office, the town's unofficial choke point for secrets, gossip, and the occasional catalog addressed to current resident. The post office smelled faintly of paper dust and civic fatigue. Marzipan was not allowed inside, so she patrolled the front step, glaring at the blue collection box like it owed her money. Inside, I headed to my P.O. box. The clerk, Mr. Dunlap, watched me with the expression of a man who had seen too much junk mail and not enough of anything else. "Morning, Kitty," he said. "Box looked heavy today." "Heavy with what?" He slid a large manila envelope through the window. It bore a printed label, "To K. O'Compost, from Department of Interagency Harmonization, courtesy copy." Courtesy copy, the anti-common's favorite euphemism for "we don't trust you." "I didn't sign for this," I said. Mr. Dunlop shrugged. "Came through regular mail, no signature required." Marzipan bleated sharply from outside, a loud, unmistakable scratch fact check delivered through tempered glass. I tucked the envelope under my arm. This was not a Midway Cafe day. This was a library day. The Lower Bunyan Public Library was a stubborn survivor of the WPA era, built back when civic pride was measured in hand-hewn river rock and Douglas fir beams. It sat on the corner like a wise old owl made of stone, its high arched windows catching the light the gym and the server farm seemed to swallow. Inside, the air didn't smell like municipal fatigue. It smelled of beeswax, old vellum, and the faint, sweet decay of 100 years of shared stories. Above the circulation desk, a faded mural stretched across the ceiling, a panoramic tribute to the labor of the commons. It depicted men and women with oversized hands planting seeds, stacking books, and building bridges, their painted faces glowing with an earnestness long out of fashion in the country. Mrs. Tyndale, the librarian, moved through the stacks like a quiet priestess of the permanent record. She had infused the stone halls with a quiet, persistent warmth, spider plants overflowing from copper pots, and shelf labels written in her careful, lupin hand. "Your table's free," she said as I walked in, nodding toward a heavy oak desk in the corner. Its surface was scarred by decades of pens and elbows, and it stood on legs so thick they actually felt rooted to the floor, though time had introduced a slight rhythmic wobble that she tried to cure with a folded magazine. "Perfect," I said. Marzipan slipped under the table and settled herself like a furry paperweight with opinions. I opened the manila envelope. Inside was a thick stapled packet, heavier than it looked. The cover page read, Disarmament Protocol, Draft 27C, for limited circulation. Prepared by the Interagency Harmonization Steering Group. Draft 27C. We were now deep into alphabet territory. When a document is revised past the letter A, it's never because the ideas are getting clearer. I flipped to the first page. The purpose of the disarmament protocol is to initiate a multi-phased cross-sectoral process for the safe, coordinated, and mutually affirming deactivation and repurposing of global weapons assets in alignment with long-term cooperative aspirations. The words cooperative aspirations sat there like black ice, smooth, shimmering, and designed to make you lose your footing. Marzipan scratched once beneath the table. Translation, proceed with caution. Page 2 contained the first chart. Implementation timeline, preliminary projection. Bars stretched across the page in cheerful colors, each representing a milestone that was supposed to happen years in the future. Some bars extended so far right they nearly fell off the page. A footnote read, Initial activation contingent upon establishment of pre-alignment consensus group. I underlined it. Pre-alignment, I whispered. A committee to decide whether we're ready to decide. Marzipan scratched again, harder. The next section was titled Autonomous Dismantling Layer Technical Status. Unlike the timeline chart, this part was short, unadorned, and quietly damning. It noted that all safety validations, redundant systems, and tertiary assurance systems were complete. I reread it. The AI was ready. Right now, not someday, not pending subcommittee approval. Ready. Below it, the authorization gate status was listed as pending. It was awaiting interagency concurrence, awaiting fiscal neutrality modeling, awaiting stakeholder confidence thresholds, and awaiting final harmonization review. Awaiting, awaiting, awaiting. A mountain of waiting constructed atop a system designed to act. A handwritten note in the margin stopped me. It looked rushed, penciled, almost angry. We have a plan to dismantle the weapons. We just haven't dismantled them yet. There it was again, the lie in its purest form. It wasn't technological failure or mechanical risk or global instability. It was just fear. Fear dressed in procedural language, fear funded by the industries who depended on it, fear held in place by those who believed peace would cost them something they couldn't live without. I sat back, exhaling. Addie, I murmured, the tool is ready. It's the hands refusing to lift it. The silence that followed was deep. Library silence, the kind that understands questions it cannot answer. Page after page revealed more bureaucratic artistry. Stakeholder confidence instruments still in progress, fiscal neutrality modeling subcommittees yet to be formed, and cross-sector alignment pathways under exploratory review. The projected Phase 0 initiation date was listed as unforeseeable. The anti-commons had crafted a masterpiece, a machine ready to dismantle weapons, paired with a political system designed never to let it. I wrote in my notebook, this isn't a protocol, it's a postponement ritual. Marzipan scratched violently, nudging the table leg. It wobbled and the folded magazine slid. I caught the table just in time. Mrs. Tyndale peered over her glasses. Everything all right? Just the truth shifting the furniture, I said. She nodded. That happens here more often than people think. I returned to the packet. The final page contained a conclusion so absurd I read it twice. The disarmament protocol represents a bold commitment to future global cooperation. Activation will occur once all stakeholders achieve measurable comfort with projected outcomes. Measurable comfort, not safety, not readiness, comfort. I closed the packet slowly. This wasn't a leak meant to scare me off. This was a leak meant to be found. Someone wanted the absurdity revealed. I tucked the document into my bag, placed my hand briefly on Marspan's back, and whispered to her this time, "We're pulling on the right thread." Outside, the sun had shifted, casting long, thin shadows across the library steps. The hum from the distant facility felt louder, as if the servers were leaning in. Tomorrow would be interview day, and the anti-commons, whether it liked it or not, would be asked to explain why peace had been postponed 27 times. I tightened my jacket and stepped into the street. "Addie, stay with me. The truth is loosening." You've been listening to Experiment 0 of the Peace Experiments. I hope you'll join us for the next episode. My books and peace projects can be found at aviskaufsbeck.com, including the Peter the Water Dog Saves the Planet Best Friend Eco-Fiction series. For those who want to dive deeper into the peace themes we covered in 2025, I've created a 2025 recap ebook. It includes everything from Kitty Ocampo's satire debut to the deep history of the Great Disarmament. It's complimentary and available now at aviskaufsbeck.com/2025. Thank you again. Listen for the peace.